The other major global war, of course, the war that the globe is focused on, is in Ukraine. Donald Trump striving to get a ceasefire there. He's going to be speaking with Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, tomorrow. Here's Donald Trump.
I'll be speaking to President Putin on Tuesday, and a lot of work's been done over the weekend. We want to see if we can bring that war to an end. Maybe we can, maybe we can't, but I think we have a very good chance.
Yeah, Kristin, he's put a lot of pressure on Vladimir Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, and effectively forced concessions there. It's critical he can get Vladimir Putin to the table here, isn't it, and get a ceasefire?
Yeah, I mean, both Putin and Trump will probably remain very cordial and respectful during this meeting, unlike, Harris and Biden, who would get very exasperated and call Putin a killer. But under the surface, Trump and Putin clearly don't trust each other. Let's not forget that during Trump's first term, he was probably the most forceful anti-Russian president since Ronald Reagan. He sanctioned the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. He gave lethal aid to Ukraine. And on the other side, Putin, he views Trump as a very worthy opponent. Trump's team has said that they might be willing to use economic sanctions. I'm not sure that's going to work. The Russians think that would backfire by causing higher prices here. Let's not forget, economic sanctions haven't worked over the last 10 years. So what I think is going on right now, Chris, is that Trump is realizing this situation is a lot more nuanced and complicated than he thought it would be on the campaign trail. And by making these kind of unrealistic promises while he was campaigning, he may have boxed himself in with an unrealistic timeline, which gives leverage to Putin. I believe, this is just my opinion, he should walk away from that call and kind of let Putin stew a little bit. It's clear Putin's kind of stringing Trump along. But do I think it's going to be easy to resolve this mess that Trump has inherited from Biden and the Europeans? Absolutely not. A phone call is probably not going to solve the situation.
Yeah, not difficult. But yeah, he just needs to maximise pressure on Putin. We'll see what happens there. Staying on matters that involve foreign affairs for Donald Trump, the vision of deported criminals from the US into El Salvador is creating a stir. All sorts of legal moves here afoot. The El Salvadorian government not very impressed, but I imagine many Americans back home will be very pleased to see convicted criminals deported from the US.
Of course. Way up here in Boston, we are far from the border. There have been multiple gang members from El Salvador that have been nabbed by Border Patrol over the last month or two. This is something that like 98% of Americans support if you took a poll. And yet you have leftists in the media crying and wailing over these deportation efforts. And let's not stop with the El Salvador gang members. A couple weeks ago here in Boston, an illegal immigrant from Guatemala was arrested after he was, multiple times raped a minor, a child here in Massachusetts. He was set free in 2022 by the Essex County Court here where I live. It's just ridiculous. It's infuriating. So I hope the Trump administration doubles down on these efforts and gets rid of all of the criminal aliens in this country.
So much happening and so much yet to happen. Apart from that phone call with Vladimir Putin tomorrow, Donald Trump is going to release the JFK files. I can't believe this. Been discussion and movies and conspiracy theories for decades about this. But here's the president on what we'll see tomorrow.
We are tomorrow announcing and giving all of the Kennedy files. So people have been waiting for decades for this.
He says there'll be minimal redactions of this material. This could be the biggest story of the year, or it could be a fizzer. What do you expect?
I just think it's not going to be much. It's going to be a nothing burger. The vast majority of the JFK files have actually already been released to the public. It's just really that redacted information and the stuff that they've withheld that we want to see. I just don't think it's going to be released. The Trump administration has already come under fire because of the way that Pam Bondi has handled the Epstein files, which we were also promised. But the fact that these kinds of files just won't be released really makes one suspicious. What is our government trying to hide? And of course, if they don't release what we all want to see, which is the full trove of documents, it will only further fuel conspiracy theories.
Indeed, and just before we let you go, I've got to get your comments on the latest polling. NBC tracking polls showing that 44% of Americans believe the country is on the right track now. Now, that's less than half, of course, but it's almost double what it used to be. It was up from 27% in November and obviously lower for most of the Biden period. So it seems like Donald Trump's got general support from most of the population just at the moment.
Yes. And, you go out and you talk to normal people. The vast majority of people, including Democrats, will admit that they feel the country is doing much better now than it was under Biden. I'm still shocked, though, that over 50% of the country does not believe that the country is going in the right direction. Clearly, we are better off. We are more secure. The economy is getting better. The border's finally secure. So we got to get that other 50% to come around. But I believe it's happening, and the momentum is absolutely with Donald Trump.
Yeah, there's always plenty of don't knows and the like, but yeah, that's the majority of those with a view say America's on the right track. Let's hope they're right, and the rest of the world follows suit. Good to talk to you, Kristin.
Great to talk to you, Chris.